Time and time again, we suffer events in our life that we put in the back of our memories, lock it away in the basement of our minds, in our subconscious, and then one day something comes along to drag all that back to the forefront, and you remember the pain, the suffering, the anguish, and this time it's Velma from HBO. In this lovely little article from comicbook.com, Velma creator responds to negative backlash. Oh, it took you long enough. This article is from April 29th. Velma took over HBO Max when it first debuted earlier this year for better or worse. Believe me, it was worse. There was no better about it. And the series creator behind the new take on Scooby-Doo franchise without Scooby-Doo, except for that little skeleton behind the cabin, underneath the cabin, has shared their response to the negative backlash of the series. This should be good, ladies and gentlemen. When Velma was first announced to be in production, fans of the long-running Scooby-Doo animated franchise seemingly took umbrage with how much this new spin would be changing the original series. It butchered it. They had a problem with Mindy Kaling coming out in the teaser, pretty much mocking fans, ridiculing them, making fun of all sort of social media criticism. People didn't like that. This negatively continued even further when Velma premiered its episodes. Boy, you are not even kidding. And it turned out to be one of the most watched new animated, I think that I call bullshit. Okay. One of the most watched new animated debuts with HBO Max with this year so far. Let's break this whole sentence down, shall we? Most watched new animated debuts this year so far. What other animated debuts? What else was new? I think the answer to that is nothing. Nothing was new in animated debuts. Correct me in the comments, please. One of the most watched. Bullshit. Yeah, it was the only watched by people like me who are gluttons for punishment and had criticism of the trailer, so hey, gotta suffer through the garbage that it was the show, and boy, was it ever. The negative backlash fueled viewers to check out Velma. It fueled content creators on social media to watch it and talk about it on their channels and tell people, dear God, don't suffer through this. It became one of the streamers' top performers, again, compared to what? So it was no surprise. Here's more bullshit. It was no surprise when plans for a Velma Season 2 were quickly put into place, considering how big the response to the new series were overall. I read that verbatim. That doesn't feel right. Here's the problem. I believe they took all the episodes and broke them up into 2 seasons, so trying to claim that they hadn't already had Season 2 in the can? No, you can't say that. It's already been mentioned. Season 2 was already done, and they broke it up into 2 separate seasons. That was it. Velma series creator, showrunner, and executive producer Charlie Grandi spoke about Velma to Emmy magazine and actually had a response to those who didn't like the new takes on the Scooby-Doo characters. Of course he did. This was a lovely scene, a bunch of naked teenage girls in the shower. What are you trying to say? Huh? Naked, high school girls. This is what was in the show. What the actual... Anyway. Responding to critics of Velma's new versions of Scooby-Doo characters, don't call it Scooby-Doo. There is no Scooby-Doo in this show. Scooby-Doo in name only. It's not Velma. It's not... Nobody. No. Velma creator Charlie Grandi says... Quote, the original Hanna-Barbera shows are still out there to watch, and boy, are people watching them more and more. We're not erasing the originals. You're not even close to the originals. There is nothing similar outside of the way they dress and their names, except for Shaggy, because you couldn't call him Shaggy. We just want to be a little ice planet on the outer regions of the Scooby-Doo verse that no one gives a toss about. Detailing how he and the series' executive producer Mindy Kaling, twat, came up with Velma's concept. It's a self-insert. That's all it is. That's how they came up with Velma's concept. It's a Mindy Kaling self-insert. In the first place, Grandy noted, quote, Mindy came to me and said she'd love to work on a story with Velma. Yes, because she wanted to put herself on TV again. She loved the characters, that's a lie, and thought it would be funny to have her at the center of the show. Oh, so there you go. Thought it would be funny to have a story with Velma. She would love to work on a story with Velma and decided to do a 100% no questions asked, can't deny it self-insert. In making Velma a character of South Asian descent, changing the entire story, we asked ourselves, why stop there? Why stop at butchering one character? Let's destroy the entire franchise. Grandy explains, none of these characters are rooted to being white. Really? Decades upon decades upon decades upon decades of animated shows, classic animated shows, from one iteration to another, but they were not rooted to being white. We were worried about going to Warner Brothers and asking them to do it, but they said, do it. It's time. Just make sure it's funny. Boy, was it. Make sure it's funny and good. It was neither of those things. How the hell this show got greenlit, I will never, ever understand. It was an absolute abomination, top to bottom. The jokes, or what they attempted to be jokes, landed flat. Flatter than a 2x4. It seems like Velma's change to its core What? It seems like Velma's change to its core were approached with making a funny yet different final project. It wasn't funny. With Velma Season 2 already in early development, it appears the show was successful. By what metrics? What do you think of Velma's debut on HBO Max? I got a few videos on it if you want to go check it out. It's an atrocity. Did its changes to the Scooby-Doo franchise bother you? No, because I can easily ignore it moving forward. And they can be ignored by all fans of Scooby-Doo. Actual Scooby-Doo. Let us know your thoughts. Oh. Shall we go to the comments? Let's see. Where we got 9? That's it? Only 9 comments. Let's see what we got. What the shit is this? One hopes global warming will melt your little ice planet. Oh, I like that one. I want to like that one. Oh, I have to log in. Fuck off. It wasn't good, and sure as hell wasn't the characters that we know. Velma is such a jerk in this version. That is not and was not her. The biggest problem was it wasn't funny. Hey, there you go. It also turned characters we liked into horrible jerks. Yes, Velma was a twat. Whiskey Mike says, I don't think anybody cared what part of the world any given character's ancestors were from. I think most everybody hated the characters for their character traits. They were really trashy people. Mean, ugly, gross, and cringy. I'm talking about their personality traits, not their looks. Velma was always kind. They were always kind characters. Making Velma a trashy prick was a choice, and a terrible choice. Well, I guess the self-insert was pretty appropriate. This show is an example of how to be a horrible person to others. Oh, I love these comments. What? I liked it. And where does it say the characters have to be white? Oh, what's up, Man-Bat? I've said this before in other articles. People want to see traditional characters as they were intended. Make a new IP. Yes, make something new. Make something new. That's all we're begging for. Wait. Dear Granny, people didn't hate Velma because it was different. They hated it because it wasn't Scooby-Doo. No, they hated it because it was bad. It was you slapping famous names on your shitty, try-too-hard cartoon. Yep, pretty much agree. It wasn't Velma, it wasn't Daphne, it wasn't Scooby-Doo because there was no Scooby-Doo in the show. This was an absolute, it was a dumpster fire abortion of a show. People didn't dislike it because it wasn't like the old characters. People disliked it because it was just bad. Absolute bad. Poorly written. Animation was meh at best. But let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for making it this far. Leave a like, leave a dislike, and I will see you in the next one.